Everybody understands English? Yeah. Mendel, you understand English?
Yiddish.
Hoe je het again? Okay, I want to tell one short little story. But as a hakdama for the story, a short hakdama. Wednesday night, a friend of mine, when we went it's Erev Rosh Chodesh. It's now also mamash right almost Erev Rosh Chodesh. As a matter of fact, Rosh Chodesh, the molad is 6 quarter to 7, I think, something like that. 6:26. But according to different shitas, but anyway, you can go from 26 to 46, 47. It's also good. So I was with a friend of mine in Mas Makpela on Wednesday night. After an hour of Hisbodedus, and we were doing Tikkun Klali, we heard singing. And it was not the usual sounds of the loudspeakers of the. It was real Jewish singing. After I was in the middle of Tikkun Klali, I looked over and I saw there was a whole group of people, Shiva Bachers, sitting on the lawn. So they were all sitting around in a big circle, and it looked like maybe it was a Rosh Yeshiva, who was a little older than them. He was sitting on a stone. So I didn't want to disturb them. They looked like they were really into the Vekas there. So I was walking by, and the Rosh Yeshiva called my friend. And he said, "Tell him to come over and join us." So I went over, and the Rosh Yeshiva gave me to sit in his stone. He got up to sit on his stone. I said, "No." Then he went to shake my hand, and I don't know. We learned a long time ago with Shlomo, you don't just shake somebody's hand. You give them a hug, and so we hugged each other, and we sat down together on the stone. It's the portion of the stone now. I don't know if you know the cellas. Yatsa mayim me'asela. There's a whole thing of Moshe Rabbeinu. He didn't know whether he should hit any cellar or he should just he had to really wait for the cellar, because the cellar of Miriam disappeared. So what is the whole inyan? I heard from Rav Berland. He said that it was big Kiddush Hashem that you take the mime only from the cellar of Miriam, because they have to know that all the water in the world only comes from the tzaddik. Anyway, so we're sitting on the stone, and I started talking to. He asked me to speak a little bit. So it turned out that my friend told me that this was the shiva where two of the boys that are been grabbed from this yeshiva, from yeshiva from Gush Etzion. So we spoke about. It says in the portion of the week that after Aaron HaKohen died, so Melech Arad came and he came to fight against Israel. Ribnitzer says in the Kutei Halachos that Melech Arad is Amalek. And why is he coming to fight against Israel? It's not because because Aaron HaKohen, the Anei Kavod, went away from Israel. It's because the people stopped believing that Aaron HaKohen was still alive. The tzaddikim are chayim v'kayimim. Avraham hu chay, Yitzchak hu chay, Yaakov hu chay. It's even said in the Gemara we just learned a few days ago from in Tainis. It says Yaakov Avinu lo met. Rashi omer pashut, omer chay leolam. Yaakov Avinu chay leolam. So these tzaddikim, these great tzaddikim, Moshe, Shimon Bar Yochai, Avraham Avinu, Yitzchak Avinu, Yaakov Avinu. The three boys that are moser their life for the sake of Am Yisrael right now. And all of Am Yisrael is moser their life for these three boys. And people are learning day and night, people are fasting day and night, whatever they can. The main thing is that we have to magbir chinam, avat chinam. So I want to tell this. This is just akdama. I want to tell the story that I heard from somebody who the story happened to. He told me his name is Uri, and Uri was a Russian. He came Tshuva. He came to Eretz Yisrael, and when he came to Eretz Yisrael, he did a bris milah. And now he's, if you look at him today, he looks just like, like he's right from one of our chevra, from the Strimel and Kapita and everything. But he was driving me once back to Yerushalayim in his car, and he showed me a picture of how he used to look. It was really, maybe it was even more like Nekudah Tova, I don't know. It's like real beautiful long blonde hair and like a red shirt with checkers on it. And a nice guitar, He was the leader of a rock group in Russia. So Uri told me, I said to Uri, what kind of a Chossid are you? He said, I'm a Ribnitzer Chossid. What's a Ribnitzer? He said, well, did you ever see the Rebbe? He said, I don't know, but my family told me I saw him one time. So the Rebbitzin was here, the Ribnitzer Rebbitzin was here in Eretz Yisrael, and she wanted to get stories about the Rebbe, so Uri said, my aunt has a story, and she told me as a story, I don't even know the story myself. Let's go to her. She lives in Haifa. So we went to Haifa. And while we're there in Haifa, so we went to my aunt, and she starts telling the story. She said, Uri, I want to tell you, when did you see the Ribnitzer Rebbe? You really only saw him one time. You know when it was? I says, I don't know. He said, I'll tell you. When you were born, so your father was really a good communist. To be in Russia in those days, you had to be a good communist if you wanted to stay alive. And even that wasn't so easy. As my friends told me, it depended on how you would say the name Stalin. If you would say Stalin, they would kill you. If you would say Stalin, they would kill you. If you even smiled even a drop, for sure they would kill you right away. It was almost impossible. So my father was really a good communist, but he happened to have the privilege of living in Ribnitzer. So the Ribnitzer Rebbe was there, and he heard that there was a baby born. So he came to the house the day after the baby's born, knocks on the door, and and my father answered the door, and he said to him, what do you want? And the Ribnitzer Rebbe said, I heard that you had a son. He says, yes, I had a son. He says, well, I'm a moil, and I do bris milah. And before he had a chance to say anything else, my father said, listen, we don't have anything to do with old-fashioned customs like that, and you came to the wrong place, and you just better leave. He said, well, listen, I'll even pay you for it. I'll pay you if you'll let me do the bris. He says, I'm not interested in money. We're good communists. We have nothing to do with those old-fashioned customs, and please do me a favor, just leave. So he left. 8 days later, on the 8th day, the Ribnitzer Rebbe came back to the house, and he called he knocked on the door. My father answered the door, and the Ribnitzer Rebbe said, please do me a favor. Let me do the bris today. If the bris is today, it's the 8th day. I'll give you a lot of money. It'll be quiet. Nobody will know about it. We'll do it. Mom, it's so fast. They'll never hear about it. Nobody. Just forget it, please. Don't bother me with such crazy things already. So he said, okay, listen, do me a favor. Just do one thing for me. Let me just hold the baby. So the father said, okay, you can hold the baby. He took the baby, he held the baby for 1 minute in his arms. And, he had like what do you call it, faucets on his eyes. His eyes opened up, tears were pouring down on the baby. He cried over the baby. And he said, okay, you can have the baby back. He kept his promise, he didn't do anything. He gave him the baby back. And that was it. Then the aunt, Uri's aunt, turned to me, to Uri, that was telling the story, and she started screaming, Uri, now you know why you're the only person in the whole family that was about tshuva, that was choser to Hashem, that would return to God. It's because the Ribnitzer Rebbe held you in his arms. Now this bris was mamish eit ratzon. Am Yisrael is one thing. It's not even. It's not a. Like we call what are called Yishmaelim. We call them our cousins, but God forbid we should have such cousins like that. Rabbi Berlin says they're not really Ishmael here. It's really Amalek. But Am Yisrael is one thing. When one person is hurting and one person has pain, it's one body. Everybody feels it. When you see all the boys from these boys' yeshiva, people see the father and the mother. They're very strong, but it's koev mode. And now at the 8th Ratzon of bringing a new child to the world, you make a special blessing. You say,